In 2013, a parody of the iconopop song I Love It was released on YouTube that would forever change a young Nathan's brain chemistry forever. This parody song, I Ship It, introduced me to so many key parts of fandom that I was just not aware of before. Despite being chronically on Tumblr, I actually was not familiar with a lot of these core sub- Oh my gosh, is that Jenny D? My favorite Dungeons & Dragons YouTuber who teaches me how to DM? Wait, are you saying Jenny D is the person who taught me what shipping was? This course taught me what canon is, the concept of a shipping war and how there can be toxicity in a fandom and infighting, what an OTP is, and how it's okay to have one. And of course, one extremely important vocabulary word, which is the subject of this video, crack ship. Hey everyone, I'm Nathan, and a crack ship or crack pairing is a relationship of two characters that's ridiculous, normally from two completely different pieces of canon that, for some reason, fans just want to see together. So with a decade more artistic ability under my belt, I'm going to draw my 3 favorite pairings from 2013. Let's jump into the video. Pairing 1, Parapines. This ship had my entire heart in high school. It's a pairing between Dipper Pines from the TV show Gravity Falls on Disney Channel and the character Paranorman, who's just from one movie by Laika Studios. That's a claymation film. They were part of this larger group called the Mystery Kids, which consisted of Dipper and Mabel, obviously, and then 2 characters from Laika Studios, which was Coraline and, as previously stated, Norman. So that makes sense because both shows deal with paranormal activity, the fact that Dipper is constantly getting in situations where he has to solve these super larger-than-life problems. It just made sense from a fandom perspective that he would eventually cross paths with another 12-year-old who has the ability to see ghosts, like the fanfiction writes themselves. Besides all the super cute art of them as their 12-year-old selves, there was also a lot of really cool fan art of them older, like aged up to either high school or as adults, and that was always my favorite fan art. So today I'm drawing both of them in a little comic, and in my little headcanon, this takes place in the future, like 6 years after they met as kids, and I think they had maybe a one-off interaction, little bottle episode, where they met and it was super cool, they had a fun time, maybe they killed some zombies or something. Then they went their separate ways and they're re-meeting all these years later at a diner, and the joke of the comic is essentially that Norman got hot. And my justification for this is there is a gay character in the movie Paranorman who is like a total jock. And so since he's the older brother of Paranorman, they would probably go on a lot of like adventures together. So I'm sure in all of the fighting ghosts and zombies and ghoul shenanigans, Norman got ripped. It's just an inevitability. When you fight monsters, you get a 6-pack. I don't make the rules. I've already started the inking portion of this piece. Originally, I was going to have Dipper looking at a Polaroid, and instead I was like, you know what, let's just make it his phone, because it'd be so weird if he just was looking at this picture. I have to be honest with you all, there actually was not a ton of content for this particular pairing, so it was one that I deeply wished I had the ability to draw really good fan art for. And I think the reasoning for that is because Gravity Falls is an ongoing series and Paranorman was just one-off movie. If it had done super well at the box office and had gotten a sequel and a franchise treatment, I think the pair could have gone on to do a lot more. But it was just a one and done. I don't think it was that financially successful, but I have the most vivid memory of being so angry that there was so much fan art for Rise of the Brave Tangled Dragons. It was only 4 movies. Rise of the Guardians didn't get any sequels, but there was so much Jack Frost thirst on Tumblr. It was unescapable. And I think it didn't help that we had to age them up ourselves. So when there isn't a canon aged up version of a character, a lot of fan artists don't want to take the time to come up with a design. It makes the prospects of fan art much less likely, which is like when Hiccup aged up, all of a sudden everyone adopted the new sexy version of Hiccup. Oh my gosh, this was a rodeo. If you don't know what Rise of the Brave Tangled Dragons are, and you're watching a video about crack ships, I am so sorry you've made it to this corner of the internet. And now we've started inking our resident hot boy. I had a lot of kind of indecisiveness when I was doing the sketch phase of of this drawing because I was sort of basing this off of a lot of the fan art that I was just consuming at that time. Most of the fan art of them aged up didn't have a clear vision of what the fashion choices would be, and I certainly do not reinvent the wheel on fashion. Like, they're both 18-year-old boys. They're not thinking about fashion that much. Honestly, they're both just wearing hoodies and t-shirts. I kept the sleeve tattoos from the fan art that you saw earlier because I thought it was cute, and they're ghosts and he can see ghosts. I made him like a little edgy, like he has all these piercings on his ears because we love a bad boy, whereas Dipper, I think, has maintained a lot of the core goofiness of his characterization that we know from Gravity Falls, and I just really loved that. I think it's really cute. I actually rewatched Paranorman for this video, and I have a lot that I can say about Leica Studios. Lots of love, lots of love. I really enjoy Coraline. But watching Paranorman, I was kind of horrified how we're like forced to sympathize with Puritans that literally murdered a little girl for being a witch. I understand that it's a parallel for Norman's relationship with his parents. Totally get that, but I'm just saying it was a lot to ask for us to like forgive these horrible child murderers. I don't know. Maybe if the movie had restructured it differently. There is also the weirdness that the girl actually was a witch. Like, she really was a witch that they put on trial for being a witch. So if the girl actually was evil, then maybe it would be justified. But I love witches and I hate seeing them burned. So me personally, I was against that. There's probably some way of doing it that would make it actually work for media for me personally. Like, I enjoy the redemption arc of White Diamond from Steven Universe, and a lot of fans have a horrible opinion on that because fascism. Dang, I have a lot of things I want to make videos on. This video was about Parapines, so let's get back to Parapines. I'm doing the coloring now. It's very simple. It's the colors from their respective properties. And I also don't go ham with this background because I often go way too crazy on backgrounds, and I wanted to do 3 pieces for one video, so I had to constrain myself, and yeah, I think it worked out fine. I like that I kept this paper background just to add a little bit of texture, and I think it worked for me. I fill in the dialogue. Dipper, you look like you've seen a ghost. I'm not that clever. And yeah, this is the first finished piece of fan art. Have you ever liked and subscribed halfway through a video? You should try it now. Pairing 2, Samurai Bravo. This one is really strange. So if you were paying attention earlier when I was describing what a crack ship is, it's normally 2 characters from different media. And it would seem like these 2 characters fit that bill. But this is actually a very strange example of a crack ship that does have a piece of canon material. So way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, there were these little things called commercials instead of ads on streaming services. For a while, Cartoon Network would show these little blocks that had this weird city that all of the characters from your favorite Cartoon Network animated series lived in, and they all interacted with each other. And there was one strange commercial that lives in my child brain, which features a half-naked Samurai Jack talking to a Johnny Bravo only wearing a robe, and there's so much sexual tension between them as they're doing their laundry, and Johnny Bravo says, "Oh, you like pink?" The queerness is mind-boggling. So this birthed this ship between the 2 of them, and it's honestly perfect. I am so grateful that this exists. Both of these characters are from their respective Cartoon Network properties. Samurai Jack was this really cool Adult Swim-esque show that featured this samurai who was like thrown into the future and has to fight all of these people. And Johnny Bravo was just about this womanizer who's vaguely like Elvis. There is like maybe a little bit of female empowerment in which whenever he hits on a woman, she like beats him up. but let's just have a series about the empowered women and cut Johnny Bravo out of it. So I really like the idea of them being in a gay pairing because it gets rid of all of that womanizer bullshit with Johnny Bravo. And yeah, Johnny Bravo is clearly the sub-bottom, and Samurai Jack is obviously the dom top. This is very evident based off their personalities. It's science. Don't question me on this. So I drew both of them at a laundromat, you know, looking at each other, making some goo-goo eyes. I actually based the laundromat off of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I thought was fun because it's a movie about going through different lives and portals. It made me happy. I hope it makes you happy too. For the background, I do the same process that I attempt every year when I inevitably try to do Inktober and then give up, which is a lot of black and white, monochromatic digital art. Yes, come at me in the comments. I never do Inktober with actual ink and paper. Oops. And that was really fun. I got a lot of success out of it. I ultimately add a lot of color overlays just because I wanted to have a touch of, you know, queerness in the piece. And I go with this color scheme from the Achillean flag just to really drive home the homosexual male nature of this piece. I like Johnny Bravo's expression. He has these socks. He's very surprised. I add a little bit of purple in the end, you know, shout out to my bisexuals out there. And yeah, this is the finished image. It was much faster because there's only one panel in this piece and not an entire comic. Pairing 3, Punzimodo. Alright, you were probably expecting Jack Unzel. Well, you're wrong. Even though I did make fan art of that too when I was a kid. I was just trying to be Punziella. I actually ship Rapunzel and Quasimodo. There is fan art that does support this ship. There are very few of us, but I am here to make converts. I ship these two so much as a kid, and I finally have the platform to actually show all that they deserve. There are so many reasons why you should be currently shipping Rapunzel and Quasimodo, and I know that this is a straight ship, but let's just all get out of our comfort zones just a little bit. Let's keep an open mind and let's go for it, all right? Reason number 1, they both have a traumatic past. They have so much in common. They have this traumatic past. They're both raised by people who aren't actually their parents, essentially like kidnapped. Both of those figures lie to them about the origins of where they come from, and they both have to look down, either out of a bell tower or a literal tower, at the world they cannot be a part of. That's already so much, and if you put them in a college AU, like I am currently doing here right now before your very eyes, it's even better because they both would be fine art majors. Rapunzel would be a painting focus. Quasimodo would be a sculpture focus because he makes all those little miniatures. It just is so perfect. And they would meet in college, and they both would have overprotective parents that aren't really their parents, and they would bond over that, and they would fall in love, and it would be so cute. And this is amazing because Quasimodo is the most wonderful person in all of Disney, and he deserves to have an amazing girlfriend. I'm still so sore about it. Okay. I'm calming down. I'm calming down. End of rant. Let's just enjoy the art from this point forward. I took a lot of inspiration from Glenn Keane. He has these amazing charcoal drawings of the Beast and Tarzan that were super inspirational to me as a kid. I actually did make fan art of these two, just one fan piece, and it was of Quasimodo giving Rapunzel a flower. I can't find it. If I ever do, I'll post it on Twitter. I'm so mad that it can't be in this video right now. And I thought, after doing that initial sketch about inking this and doing the same process for the first two pairings, but it was coming out so beautifully, I decided to keep the crumbly, textured sketch, charcoal, pencil nature of the piece. So we're getting out of our comfort zone, we're shipping the straights, and we're using texture and crumble in our art. That's right, it's 2023, all bets are off. Another cool thing about this piece is you might notice that the campus is made up of other Disney characters. If you follow me on Patreon, I always like asking for requests for the background characters in all of my videos. So I asked everyone what kind of Disney characters they would like to see in a college AU and what their majors would be. I asked that just so I'd kind of get like a vibe check for how people would be dressed. I initially thought that this was going to be much more detailed, you know, my normal inking style, so I was also going to like write on everybody's textbooks to correlate with like what their majors were, but everything ended up being much more loose, and I do like the style that it came out, so I'm very happy with this, and I think it's fun. But some of the most interesting things was like hearing everybody's headcanons for the majors. And someone recommended Maleficent, and she's just so old, so I made her a professor in the background, and wearing those like graduation robes that professors also wear in graduation. So I don't know, there were some goodies in here too. Like there was a lot of people from Atlantis who were recommended, like Kita and Audrey. So I just thought that was fun. I put Cusco in a skirt because he always struck me as genderqueer. As for the majors, my favorites was someone was like Mulan would definitely be like gender studies, and Snow White would be an animal science major to become like a veterinarian. I'm about to start drawing the background, which was pretty simple. Just like stairs were on the outside of a campus. People are walking in between classes. And then I was sort of tasked with making a decision about coloring. I ended up deciding to just keep with the pencils and just do like pops of colored pencil on top of everybody. Just so there was some color in the piece. I didn't want it to be monochromatic, but everything's not fully rendered just because that's a little scary, and I don't know if I know how to do that yet. But if I do tackle a piece like this in the future, that might be a fun little challenge for me to see if I can actually do a piece fully rendered in this style. I do some adjustment layers, and this is the finished image for the Quasimodo and Rapunzel piece. I really like it. I think it's super fun. It's so pink and just, I really enjoy how it turned out. And with all that being said, those were our finished images. What was your favorite of the 3 pairings? I would love to know in the comments down below. If you were in a Disney high school, what character would you flirt with? I would flirt with Robin Hood. Is anyone surprised? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you really want to support the channel, check me out on Patreon. Like I said, you can request characters to appear in the backgrounds of the images that I draw. I can't get to everyone, but if you're lucky, you might get selected. And then also, if you join at the $4 tier, you get to be in the end credits. And speaking of end credits, here they are now. Special thanks to Anna SB, Axilius the Great, Blurryface EXE, Blue Uwu, K Clark, Christopher, Crystal NM, Dabadoodoo, Dax Quinn, MOE, Fro, Game of Catan on IG, Grey Gay Mothman, Gay Jairus, Haru the Moo, J. Johar, Joseph DW, Lucky Paradox, Melon, Mild Mothman, Native Runner, Orion Amastasia, Pinecone, Poopy Tom, Prance, Red Ward, Rin, Scorching Ray, Sir Camelot, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Shenanigans, Thumper Daytime, Tortilla Chip, Tony, Tarthalinor, Tuesdays Anyways, Tundra Katie Beans, and Tuppence Pies. My name is Nathan. Thank you so much for watching. I upload a new video every weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye!